I am extremely excited to begin working with you guys and talking about all of the great things that we can do to support you in getting into the school of your dreams. Imagining, a year from now, walking onto the campus of your dream school um, with a scholarship package bundle and the roadmap for your future is exactly what I think each and every one of you are capable of, and providing the skills to make that a reality is my number one priority tonight. And so I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time and that we're going to walk through everything that is involved in the college admissions process in this day and age. We'll have some opportunities to share your insights and things that are needed in your application essays and the things that are required for a holistic application that'll help you get into the school of your dreams. So I want to begin by just sharing a little bit about myself. So as Ann stated, my name is Hunter Tharpe. I am based here in the United States in North Carolina. I'm just north of Charlotte, if you're familiar with our region of the country. I've been a college consultant with Elevated and a college advisor at my school for over 5 years now. In my day job, if you will, I'm a extended classroom English language arts teacher. I currently have the privilege of ranking first in North Carolina for student reading and writing growth out of over 2,000 teachers here. And I say that not to, certainly brag on myself, but to let you know that I deeply value the work that I do. And I put a lot of effort into the work that I do to make sure that you're reaching the levels of success that are needed. Um, I certainly want to make sure also that my students are able to translate the writing skills that I provide instruction on into their college essays. And so at my school, um, I've had the opportunity to serve as a college advisor. And at my school here in North Carolina, our students have earned over $5 million of scholarships in just this past year and admission to multiple Ivy League schools. And the way that we do that is through a structured approach that I'll share with you tonight, and then a little bit more in their essay writing and making sure that their essays are fully reflective of their personalities and their unique stories and leadership experiences and everything that schools and admissions officers are looking for in our students. And that's exactly what I try to bring to the table. So certainly outside of school, I'm also a consultant here with Elevated, and I support students one-on-one and private Zoom sessions with College Ninja with our boot camp program. And so I want to share a little bit about Elevated as a whole first, and then I'll dive into what colleges are looking for in this day and age. So as far as Elevated goes, we put a laser focus on crafting standout admissions essays that are quite literally award winning. As you see on my screen, we have Jeffrey, who is one of our co-founders at Elevated, whose admissions essay was published in the New York Times and those are the kind of skills that we want to bring to our students using those essays as a model. And over 900 students have been accepted to schools across the nation, including ones with less than a 20% admittance rate, which is quite remarkable. As you can see on the screen, we've had students accepted to every Ivy League school and every top 20 school in the United States, with over 34 just to Cornell alone, and more. So we're approaching almost 1,000 students that we've been able to support using the strategies that we're going to talk about tonight. And so it's an honor to share these with you and hopefully continue working with you to add your name to this list. So as far as what we're going to be talking about tonight, I want to spend the bulk of our time talking about the news in 2025 as it relates to college admissions that will help you be one of those 918 students as well. Your personal essays make up a large part of your application. And the reason that this is so important is because that is where colleges learn about you or about your child beyond what they can see on a piece of paper. Everything that you guys have shared up to this point of classes and standardized testing and things of that nature are quantitative metrics that can be written on a piece of paper, but doesn't shed anything about the student's leadership ability or personality or what they are going to tangibly bring to the table, as they are enrolling at colleges across the nation. And so personal essays is how that's shared. And that is excellent, guys. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that now. The first thing that we want to think about when it comes to college essays is your edge. At Elevated, we encourage all of our students to craft what we call the double edge method in their application and their essays. And we want to make sure that this shows something unique and specialized about every student. Top colleges want a diverse group of students. They don't want all coders, or they don't want all students passionate about community service. They want someone who brings a lot to the table, and specialized individuals who have unique attributes is what colleges are looking for beyond just test scores and grades and things of that nature. And so whenever you are able to present in your application profile different aspects of yourself, and how you're a leader, but you're also a researcher, and how you've also launched some initiatives that have tangibly improved your community, those are the things that allow colleges to see who you are beyond what's written on a piece of paper. The double edge method is something that we recommend for our personal statements, where you present two angles of yourself within the same personal statement essay. And so, for example, a student might talk about their ability to use coding to launch a community service project that brought resources into an underserved part of their community. That's a very unique profile, because the student is able to take two things, merge them together, and show that it's a much larger impact that they've had. And so that's one of the strategies that we look for and highly recommend our students do. The other things that we highly recommend that students show in their profile and their application as a whole is their personality. Um, every single one of us is a unique mosaic of all of the experiences that make us who we are. And that personality is what allows you to shine in front of an admissions panel that's never met you before. And in your essays, the more that you show those unique aspects of your life, going back to the whole idea of being a specialized individual, that's what allows them to see the contribution that you'll make to their school. On the screen before you, you'll see a prompt that is from Stanford University. And this question is very tailored for that reason. They want to see not only that you're going to make a contribution at Stanford, but what do you bring to the table that will allow you to do that? There's so many different things that make us who we are. So here is perhaps one of the most important things that schools will be looking for, and that's leadership. And so I want to give you some specific examples of that right now. That's really important in some ways that you can show leadership in your college profile. This is where you take things that you're passionate about, so your passion projects, and strengthen relationships at your school and in your community, because you have gone out of your way to improve your school or your community. This is a great way to show that you are a leader and that you're not afraid to go out of your way to work a little extra to make an impact in your community. And here's the best part: you're able to craft even richer, even stronger essays as a result of launching a project in your community, as you will write much stronger essays about things that you are passionate about. Above all, colleges value authenticity. And so if you are passionate about something, let that be bravely shown in your admissions profile, in your essays, through the projects and the work that you did. And so definitely want to reiterate this. Okay, so here's some other things that colleges will look for, in addition to just leadership. They're looking for uniqueness and social impact, along with your interest, people, legitimacy. We're going to dive into what each of these mean in a little bit more detail, but these are the things that make up leadership as a whole. Okay, these are things that provide you some value in the eyes of an admissions panel, because they're looking to see what impact you're going to make at their school. And there's no better way to show the impact you're going to make at your college campus than if you have already had that impact at your current school or in your current community. So when I'm thinking of this list and just different values that you're looking for in some type of community service or leadership project that you've taken on, um, of course, you need to have interest and it needs to impact people, and it needs to have legitimacy. Legitimacy is shown through the work that you do. Legitimacy is shown when you are vulnerable enough to admit a problem that your community is having and taking steps to fix it. Uniqueness. This is one of the things that I would recommend most out of this entire list is that you tackle a unique problem in your community. And so now we've talked about everything that makes really good applications, what makes a really good student profile, attributes that make a really good student profile. And this is where it all comes together, guys. This is where the rubber meets the road. And this is where the number one thing that you still have the most control over in your application profile can shine the brightest. So let's talk about that a little bit more. The first one that you'll, of course, be writing is your Common App personal statement. This is the very first essay that they will read in your application profile, and it's required by every university. They will all receive your same Common App personal statement. Your Common App personal statement should reflect who you are as a person. Remember that the most important word in the personal statement is not the statement, but the word personal. It should reflect who you are at your core. It should show how you have developed and evolved as a person over time. And there are many different topics that this can look like. You see individual prompts here that the Common App personal statement can fall under. But at the end of the day, prompt number 7 is what a lot of students end up submitting it as an essay that you've written of a topic of your choice. But if you notice that the topics that you're interested in, that you have powerful stories to tell, fall under one of these, and you certainly would select that on your application profile. The Common App personal statement will end up being 650 words, and those 650 words are what you have to tell your most powerful story. And of all the things that you have done, we talked about Chris's story. He had 650 words to talk about him recognizing a problem and then what he did to solve it. And so, and how he changed as a person from it. That's, again, the most important thing is your personal reflection on it. And the more that you can show that you are fundamentally different as a person, the better off you'll be with your application. So how do we do that? Well, we have an acronym that we use in our boot camps called VSPICE. And this is just one of over 20 strategies that we use in our boot camps. But this one is one of the most critical to help you show those unique personal aspects in your essay. So we're looking for vulnerability, selflessness, perseverance, initiative, curiosity, and expression. And that's a lot of stuff all at once, but I want to break it down just a little bit for you. The first thing that I want to point out is that vulnerability just means your ability to humanize yourself in the eyes of the admissions panel. And so you're showing moments of doubt. Chris had moments where he doubted himself and he wondered if he could tackle the scope of the problem he was trying to solve, and he did. But he had moments of doubt, and I encouraged him to share it in his essay, and it totally changed the overall picture of his essay. Selflessness is another one. Selflessness is your ability to put aside your own personal conveniences and inconvenience yourself in pursuit of something greater. Of course, Chris's story embodied that. He sacrificed hours building this community that changed his school for the better. And again, that didn't require money, but it did require perseverance on his part. And that's the next one. And so perseverance is your ability to overcome challenges along the way and your ability to keep working even when it is difficult, as Chris did. We talked about initiative and your ability to do something in response to a challenge, but that also links with curiosity and your ability to just wonder how things could be better. In fact, Chris's essay started with some curiosity of him noticing students who were struggling in his classes, but not really understanding why. And he was curious enough to dig deeper and understand that why. And And that made for a powerful essay on his part. And finally, expression. This is your ability to show a creative approach to individual problems. This might even be artistic expression, but it's simply a way that you are taking your ideas and bringing them to life, whether that is tangibly, creatively, whatever it might be. It's your ability to have a real impact of your writing and of your ability to show something in a more creative manner. So those are the six things that we look for. We certainly don't, encourage you to use this as a checklist, if you will, but these are the six guiding values that we encourage students to look for that has led to the results that we have gotten. And there are multiple strategies that we'll share in our boot camps that build on this, but this is one of the most foundational. Certainly within your essays, there are certain frameworks that we recommend that allow you to craft really powerful essays. In fact, I estimate that around 90% of student essays will fall into one of these three categories. The first is the three scene format. This is where you have three individual moments that will shape you in a really profound way that you can write a strong conclusion about at the very end of your essay. Um, this is where this is where you're able to craft how each moment changed you for the better and how they all three kind of merge together at the end to change you forever. And so these three scenes can be related to each other. In fact, they can be unrelated to each other. A student essay that I remember reading recently shared where there were certain places in the world that she had visited that changed her for the better and the different cultural experiences that she had at each one. And then her powerful conclusion was how she became a mosaic of all of those places and how she was going to take what she had learned from each of those and apply it in her new community. And so that's certainly something to keep in mind. The problem solution is what we've been talking about with Chris's essay. He talked about a problem. This is where we were mentioning we don't want to over complain or over articulate the problem. Only around 20% of your essay should be about the problem. And most of it, in fact, over half of it should be about what you do with the problem. Going back to initiative, over half of it should be. And then finally, the last 20%, your final paragraph or two should be a strong reflection around how you've changed as a person. And then the last one is a relationship essay. This is where, as we say, you use others to say nice things about yourself, where you've bonded with other people and you've changed them for the better, but they've also changed you for the better. And so if there are certain people in your life that have had that impact on you and you shared an essay about them and their impact on you and how you've changed, that would certainly be a framework that could work for your essay. I do want to say here to keep in mind that you want to keep it a personal statement. So it should be primarily about how you've changed, not so much about the other person that you're writing about, but certainly they do have an impact on us. So I've shared a little bit about the strategies that we offer in our boot camps, but of course there's even more to learn. And so I want to make sure that we offer our boot camps to you in a really clear and articulate way, and that we can share some of the things that you'll be learning about even more if you bring these boot camps to you or to your student. So one of the first things that I want to bring up is our college application essay 600 course. This is a course where we work primarily on your Common App personal statement. This is where we will go through all of these frameworks in even more detail and articulate how an essay begins and how it ends. How do you craft a strong opening to your essay? And how do you use the details within it to craft a really strong conclusion around how you have changed as a person? Right now, I'm sure that you feel a little bit overwhelmed or unsure about your college pathway, but imagine how you would feel after the end of a 6-session boot camp with a really clear sense of direction for your essay and where you want your essay to be. That's exactly what this boot camp is designed to do. If you're interested in signing up for it, you can find the link in the bottom left corner, collegeninja.ai/CA. It's where you would sign up for this. I personally teach this course, and there's only a few spots open in this course, but at the same time, I want to offer it to each of you first, since you attended our session tonight. This is certainly something that you can utilize to help your essay overall. And it's something that I'm sure will be a game-changing experience for your Common App personal statement. The other thing that I want to mention is that each college requires supplemental essay prompts. And so the Common App personal statement is just one essay that you must submit, but most colleges have multiple that you submit, typically between 3 to 6 additional essays that are supplementary to your personal statement, where they will ask very specific questions about you and who you are as a student in the realm of community, how you handle disagreements, why you're even interested in this school, and what kind of fit would you have at this school? Would you blend in with the community and shape it in a powerful way? How do you respond to challenges? How do you, interact with people from diverse backgrounds? Why are you interested in this major? These are all additional essays that colleges require, and they're typically shorter, but at the same time, they matter just as much. And so I want to make sure that these are supported as well. And so I want to offer our, I'll come back, whoops, sorry, I believe I'm going the wrong way. um, I want to offer our Common App supplemental boot camp. And so this is another one that I teach personally. And this is where you're able to go into depth with each one of those essay topics that I just shared and learn how to craft those. They are actually quite different from the way that you would approach your personal statement. And I'm sure that that's a little overwhelming to hear, but that's something that we address in our boot camp as well. It's something that, when you are hitting submit on your college application with zero stress because you are prepared and you feel confident in your essays, all of your essays, I'm sure this boot camp will help you with. You can sign up using the same link on the College Ninja website under college prep, and we will walk through each one of these application supplemental prompts that can be reused across colleges. So once you've crafted a really strong essay around why you want to apply under a certain major, that can be reused across multiple colleges. So with this boot camp, you're getting multiple essays for the price of one, since those essays can be reused. So those are the offerings that we have. One thing that I want to share that sets my boot camps apart, if you sign up for those, is that I dedicate one-on-one time for each of my students at the end to have a conference with me individually. Even though we keep our classes small, I allow students the chance to privately talk one-on-one about the topics that they are struggling with in their essay and different ideas that they have about their essay. I firmly believe that even though we can have a lecture style format like we just did, each one of you have unique stories to tell and different questions of how to best tell those. And in each one of my boot camps, after we've discussed these principles of what makes essays great essays and what strategies allow us to implement those, you have an opportunity to talk about your specific ideas, and I'll help you mesh those into your own essay as well. So at the end of the day, if this preview was helpful, then I know that the full boot camp is going to be a game-changing experience for you. I hope that you lock in the spot while you're here, and we'll take care of everything together from there.